welcome to the Unintended Receiver podcast by 91 Ultimate. It's so great to have you listening to us. Today we're going to be talking about Yoga and Ultimate. Your host for today is me, Mehr, and Jaidip. Jaidip, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. And our guest is Aastha. Hi, Aastha.
Hi, Mehr.
Aastha, do you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are?
Yes, my name is Aastha, and professionally I teach yoga either to individuals or I work with companies with employee well-being. And more recently, I'm working towards seeing where yoga comes into the picture when it comes to high performance activities. It could be high endurance sports or competitive sports like ultimate or high altitude trekking. Different disciplines where yoga can be complementary. So that is pretty much what I do. I also play ultimate. It's been a year and a half, if I don't count the lockdown year, that is. And I played with the dogs, and it's one of the most fun sports I've played.
Do you want to tell us about your ultimate journey? How has it been?
So I joined, I think the first time I played ever was in the US with the plate, because I was on some cycling expedition and there were a lot of students playing and I didn't even know the sport existed. I came back to Delhi and I just Googled, sport with Frisbee and got in touch with Shishir from the Delhi Ultimate community and came for a few minis and then got in with the dogs and then played for a year and a half last season.
When you say dogs, you mean you mean stray dogs in sweaters in Delhi, right?
Yes, Jerry. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. And what is Aastha Gupta .in?
Wow, Jerry. Thanks. um, no, it's fairly new actually. This is it is just a brand that I'm working towards, which to do with yoga and well-being and where I take it. So it's just my website where I talk about what I teach, how I teach, what courses I offer, and hopefully it'll diversify into yoga and ultimate, yoga and high altitude trekking, and more stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah. I wanted to say thanks as well for joining us today on the podcast. There are a lot of people who do yoga and ultimate as well. I think Krishna Kalrao from TIX, Minu from ATC. And so it's always been interesting, I think, for me in particular as well, getting old as I am, knowing that I need to spend more time on looking after my body. But then like yoga is this kind of like, it's a term that's very commonplace and yet not many people know really its depth of meaning or like what it means to different people. Like what is yoga in your kind of, through your eyes, your perspective?
I maybe start with what yoga is not, Jaideep, because I hear a lot of that. Like a lot of times people think yoga is about being super flexible or impossible body postures, or it's like for the very spiritual meditative kinds, or it's for vegan hippies, or there's so many only women need to do yoga and like men don't do yoga, and there are just so many horrible misconceptions. I'd say my one line definition would be that it's a practice or it's a school of thought which helps you get complete control over the body and mind. And I think that's useful, right, with anything we do in our day-to-day lives, with the sport that you play, with how you handle your relationships, with how you live a life of discipline. All these things, if you have control over the body and mind, you just use the body and mind better to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's so interesting. And that's also like talking about how yoga can essentially benefit anything you do. It could add to any aspect of your life. And earlier you spoke about a collaboration that you're planning between yoga and high altitude trekking. And I know you also spoke about yoga and corporate programs, yoga at the workplace. So how do you think ultimate and yoga fit in? Like how does that work?
I think there are so many different ways in which these two things come together. One, ultimate just being one more, high endurance sport. there are aspects of, flexibility, range of motion, recovery, balance, which any sport needs just as much as ultimate does. And yoga is great, is a great place to start for any of these changes. But I think three ways in which I would categorize, other than these physical connections, would be the first one being the breathing and pranayama, which is a big part of yoga. I think that really complements how we perform and feel when we're on field, whether it's stamina or it's um, just generally. I'll give you a story, like a quick experience to kind of share more on that. The second one is probably to do with attention, where you put your attention. So in yoga, everything, like even raising your right leg and turning your head to one side, there's a lot of detail and precision to every movement, including when to inhale, when to exhale. So when you put so much attention into that, you're essentially putting attention to um, how your body is moving, what you're doing. So even in a sport that way, we often use the word being in the zone. I think when
Right.
you put your attention in the right way,
Yeah.
towards your players, towards your body, you always feel like you're in the zone when you're playing. When we come out and say, today I was feeling it, you always feel it if your attention is in the right place, and that's a big focus in yoga. um, and I think the third one would probably be just mentally how you feel. uh, no matter what's going on in life, I think yoga helps you center yourself, and if you're feeling good mentally, then you just have a good game. That's what I've personally always felt.
Okay, cool. Oh, nice. So, okay, so you're saying that my attention and my mental focus is going to be all there if I start yoga. Okay, tell me about physical benefits. What about, do you think I'll be better at ultimate if I play yoga, if I do yoga?
I think I think like one example that I think of is I was playing regularly for a year, okay, and then uh, and generally the what you think is that the more you play, the better you get. So the more throws you practice, the more rounds you take, the better your stamina, etc. I had a month long yoga training for which I did not. So those 30 days I was not playing at all, and I was just focusing on asana, pranayama, etc. Right, and I came back thinking, shit, like I haven't run for a month, I haven't played anything. When I get on the field, and what will I do? And I remember just the day I'd come back, there was this Delhi team ka trial, and that was probably the best I've ever played. At least that's how I felt. I also made it, which was very surprising, and I really attribute that to the month of yoga I did. And I felt the difference, whether it was stretching out to catch anything and everything thrown at me, whether it was not getting tired through those 3 hours at all. I don't know if the pranayama helped or what did, but I really felt a difference, and that's when the thought of the two things coming together brewed in my mind.
Yeah, I remember that day actually, and I remember talking to you, and you really aced that tryout. You were fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mehr. Like
Yeah.
I really, that's the day I felt that shit. I didn't play for so long, but I mean that doesn't mean that not playing is what helps, but definitely the yoga bit did help. Yeah.
And you mentioned something before. I think you touched upon it, recovery, and I think a lot of like high-level players do this in some way, shape, or form, whether it's the cool down and warm up. But like, what is the? Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
So I think, like Jaidip, I mean, I used to also run in school and college, and I mean, the general thing that I've seen is that either you're a really high level sports person and then you focus a lot on what you do before and after you play,
Yeah.
or you're an old person because by then you value your body more for some
Mm.
reason, or you've been through so many injuries. So in that sense, I feel like it just as a habit, right? 10 minutes of stuff that you can do before and after practice, and there are so many things out of a yoga routine that you can pick up.
Yeah.
It really reduces the chances of injury, and this is again not just ultimate, any sport. It I can't explain the benefits enough of 10 more minutes to your body daily, before or after a workout. And yeah, I mean, you just play for a longer period of your life rather than by 30s or 40s you're just like done.
Yeah. Yep. Makes sense. I think that idea of right now I see still like so many people skip the cool down, or they don't do enough like flexibility exercises. And a part of it is to do with age. Some of it's just something, if you like, even if you're young, like it doesn't matter, like making it a habit and doing it, and you can be a much more superior athlete because of that.
I agree. And I think sometimes, like, at least what I've noticed in what people say, it's like, nah, that cool down stuff is not for me. And I'm too
Yeah.
cool for that. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just such a stupid approach to, think about, sports or like your activity in general.
I'm always the one avoiding cool down, so I'm identifying with the community. Yeah. Just give me Shavasana, Aastha. Just give me Shavasana.
And then you mentioned something about balance. And what did you mean?
I think so. I remember, Jerry, you made us do this activity, right? Like one of the practices, and where we had to just stand and we would close our eyes and maybe pick up one leg, like maybe bring our right leg up
Yeah.
and try and balance, and then do that
Mm.
on the left side and do multiple things like that. And what is that, right? That is just you seeing how much of your
Mm.
mind's attention is towards your body at that given point of time, and that is what dictates, I think, to a large extent, our balance also, and how easy it is, like, for us to stay in it or stay focused. So yeah, I mean, I think in that sense yoga really does come into the picture well.
Nice. All right. Awesome. I wanted to ask you a bit about, like, for you personally, and you already said that about the Delhi team tryouts, but like anything else about like yoga and you personally in your journey, things that you've found to be of benefit for you.
I think the funniest, or something that, like, maybe a lot of people don't know, is that the reason I'm teaching, yoga, or taking it professionally as a career, a big part of that actually is the first session that I had with Jatin and Som from the Stray Dogs when the lockdown had just begun, and they said, we're doing these weekly workouts, so can you just take one? Can you just take one workout? And I said, "Okay, I'll take some yoga session." And Sohani actually called me up after the session and said, "Hey, you're really good at this. Take out a 2-week course or something and do this, and just for free, like just do it for fun." And that's really where it started. So technically, Jatin and Som were my first two yoga students in an online class. That is really where it picked up, and I never thought actually that I'll be teaching yoga in life. So it's ironic, but Ultimate had a
Mm.
big
Ratan
role
and
to play.
Soumya from Stray Dogs. Yeah. So I want to know. So you've taken yoga sessions for all kinds of people, like corporate people and, like, I don't know, family, and you also took it for your team and Frisbee people in general. How was that experience?
Okay, honestly, I think it was great. It was a lot of fun taking sessions for Stray Dogs. But I think what happens is that when you've played with a team for so long, that the chances of them taking you seriously when you're like, you know, singing, inhale, exhale, or doing all kinds of things is pretty low. And Mehr, you've been there, and I remember you sending me messages saying inhale on like voice notes and whatnot, making fun. So I think it takes a while to strike that seriousness, but I know that it got to a place where people did feel there's a difference. And I know, like, a lot of the people who were learning with me later on, like you,
Mm.
Som, Meghna, um, Anil, and 4 or 5 others, Prabhu, Manik. So many of them felt like, okay, initially it was all like funny and, why are we doing this? And Aastha, why are you taking things so seriously? But I think 3 or 4 sessions down the line, there is some difference you feel, and then all of them continued for so many months after that. So it gets okay. It just starts off on a
So
funny note,
I
I
think I
think.
have a little something for all the listeners. Astha does this mad relaxation after all her sessions, where you've done this really intense yoga class and you're lying down and you're in shavasana and she sings to you, okay? And it's just beautiful. She will tell you to relax your arms and your legs and all of your body. And now, if I ever want to relax, I just have to imagine that voice and it happens. It's really something. That there have been times I've gotten up from that session feeling like, wow. Yeah.
But the thing is, that's how normally, like any classical yoga class, that's how it normally happens. It's just that now there's power yoga and so many different types that like people think this is so weird, but it's not. It's not.
And this is an advertisement. Please join Aastha's classes.
I remember the first time I was taking class, Jatin and saw him, and I was like, shit, what should I do? So I said, okay, let me just go for it. And I was like, now inhale deep, and both of them just stood up and like, what the hell are you doing, Aastha? And then I had to tone down the singing, but yeah, I guess it just takes a while to get used to it.
I had a question, like, because we talk about ultimate in a very philosophical way at times as well, like spirit of the game. And so did you find any kind of overlap for you in when like learning yoga and kind of dedicating your life to yoga and then also ultimate at the same time?
That's an interesting question, Jaidip. I think one thing that in one way in which yoga is very different from any other sport or activity or is that there's never a goal that you're really chasing in yoga. So you never think that this year I'm going to get the headstand, or this 1 month or these 21 days I'll kill it with my pranayama practice or like all kinds of these kind of things. They don't exist, and that's the first thing we teach, that you just do what you have to do today, and that's all that matters. Do not have goals. So I think when I started playing ultimate, and obviously when you just start out a new sport, you're a beginner, so self-esteem, confidence is always a bit like, everybody knows how to play and I'm just getting to learn. So you are not too confident asking for the disc or saying things, and I struggled with that initially. But I think just thinking about how or the approach of learning something which exists in yoga, which is that you just do the job on that day and you don't care about how good you are, how your pose looks as compared to the other yogis, if you can do a handstand and the others cannot. So these things don't come to mind so much, and that helps when you learn something new.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I often think about how we need to be more inclusive and like help new players be included, basically, like build confidence. But like if they're already doing something where they're not comparing themselves, right, like all the time, they're not looking at things in a comparison kind of way, then they're almost like going to easily like pick it up ultimate, build their confidence quickly. So yeah, that's another amazing reason to do yoga at the same time. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely, I'd agree with that. Yes.
Okay, Aastha, rapid fire time.
Okay, ready.
Yoga or ultimate?
Yoga or ultimate? Yoga.
On the yoga podcast and say ultimate. That's how it is.
It's over everything else.
I think that makes sense, and I expect this. Next question: have you ever farted in a yoga class? Honest answer. Quick.
Multiple times. I mean,
wow. Okay. Are there asanas that are conducive to this?
Yes, that's a really good question. I'll send you a list, and maybe those asanas you can skip in class.
Glad I took online classes.
Or do more of those.
Do more of those, yeah.
I've actually not experienced that so much because I haven't really taught, a big group without being online yet. So I'm yet to know more. But from my experience, yes, I know a few that are conducive. Shoulder stand is one for sure. Coming out of
I'll
the shoulder
be waiting
stand,
for a list, okay? Okay. Next question.
Okay, go ahead.
Who's the better yoga learner, Mehr or Jaidip?
Mehr, because Jaidip has not really learned yoga yet with me. And from whatever little I've heard from Meghna, it would be Mehr for sure.
Fair enough.
Okay. Rate the following dog couples, okay, on their cuteness quotient. Vinny and Aniket, Garima and Anil, Yudi and Soumya, Jatin and Suhani, Jaidip and Meghna.
How does this question have anything to do with me or yoga? how can I decide their cuteness, man? I don't know what to say.
Rate them.
We just wanted to hear who number 1 is really,
rate-
and then who number 5, and then you can...
Wasn't Mehr and Aman in this question?
Cancel.
I think Mehr and Aman are on top of
Yeah,
that list.
I agree.
Okay, cool.
Who's
Moving-
bottom of the list?
But one of my favorite. Okay, honestly, I think I don't know Aniket and Vinny.
So they're bottom.
And no, and Garima and Anil also haven't hung out with together, but I think Jatin and Sohani make a really great couple, and and Meghna and Jaidip's Sohani Sharbat with Sohani was one of the best episodes I've seen. So I think they are really couple goals.
I think I agree. Yeah, really.
Nice.
Okay. I think let's move on to the last question.
Oh yeah, cool. If an ultimate person was going to start yoga or wanted to do like something in yoga, what if like a yoga routine, what parts of a yoga routine could they start doing, like you'd recommend it from tomorrow?
That's an awesome question, Jaidip. I think okay, we have less time, so I'll quickly cover maybe a 15-minute routine, that you could do maybe post practice or on off days. Start with some pranayamas that could take maybe 7-8 minutes, few rounds of Kapalbhati, few rounds of Anulom Vilom. You can Google it, you can YouTube it. Then maybe do a few Surya Namaskars. Really helps open up the body. One of the best warm-up stretches, and you don't miss out on stretching any muscle. And then I think 3 or 4 asanas you can end it with. Probably the shoulder stand, the sitting forward bend, the cobra, which is a great backward bend. Just make sure you do it the right way. Sometimes you do some random version of the cobra and that's not really stretching your lower back, which is the point. And the triangle, trikonasana, which is a standing side bend. I would say these 4 are quite useful for the sport that we are playing, and end it with some nice shavasana relaxation. Have Mehr sing for you. She does it better than I do. And that should be it.
Awesome. Can you like publish this on your website in case people forget?
I will actually, I plan to take out some theory or like some stuff to document where the two come together and what can we take from like multiple yoga disciplines from to get better at ultimate. So I plan to do that really soon, and hopefully in the next 3 months.
Oh my god, blog coming up on 91
I
Ultimate.
was just gonna say, basis this, I'll transcript what you've said, send it to you for editing, particularly spelling.
Awesome.
And then we'll just put it on the 91 Ultimate blog, which is called the same as this, the Unintended Receiver, but then put it on your website also. That would be great. Awesome.
Amazing.
Thanks, Aastha.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thanks, Aastha. Yeah.
I've learned so much.
Okay, perfect.
Before we log off, can we
Thanks,
have a
Jaidip.
classic inhale exhale from you?
Yeah. Just make sure that you're sitting tall with your spine erect, hands on your knees, back is straight, shoulders relaxed, face relaxed. Mehr, are you doing
it?
I
I'm doing it.
Now inhale deeply and gently exhale completely. And now, yeah, that's it.
Amazing.
I'm relaxed. I need to move.
I did it. I've never done it before. Okay, I have done it before, but
Yeah, this is like
not while recording a podcast.
So I'm coming to Bangalore soon, and we need to do some yoga together. We didn't do it 5 a.m.
Yeah.
That day,
I was down for it. Just for the record, I was not awake, but I was gonna wake up and do it. Yeah, but now we're gonna live very close by, so it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be making the national team. Watch out, Shivaraman, coming for you.
Goodbye.
We can do better than that. Bye, everyone. I'm gonna say bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye, Jaidip. Bye, Mehr.